I think one thing that would be fun to talk about would be the whole full-time versus freelance. I feel
Absolutely.
like that's a pretty common question I get. So basically what it is kind of like my situation last fall was I looking for a full-time job and then I ended up deciding to go freelance. Like I think a lot of people are in this situation where they are trying to decide what should I pursue because it's very difficult to pursue both. And I learned that the hard way. 2 months after my layoff, I was just trying so hard to keep the clients happy that I had agreed to work with in the interim. Like I thought I was just doing this temporarily to stay afloat and then get a full-time job and then potentially drop the clients or just do very reduced hours. Anyway, it's tough to do both. If you're going to get a full-time job, as many designers know right now, it is so hard to prepare your case studies, do interviews. Some companies give you a take-home test. It is almost a full-time job. And so if you're going to do that, it's going to conflict with your efforts to do client work. So I think that it just really comes down to your preference. But something that's helped me was the idea of like, that was my first time getting laid off. It was just crazy to see how I went, all that stability that everyone talks about from 9 to 5 jobs was suddenly gone. And then I had put all my income in that one basket. You have to decide how much you trust that company or how much you can survive if you did get laid off. There's just so many pros and cons to freelance versus full time. Chris, I'm curious if you have any thoughts there. I feel like you've done both. It really is like a matter of like being full time, dedicating all your time to one company versus being self employed and experimenting with different forms of income. Like, how did you decide to do that?
I just hated the company I was working for.
Okay,
Yeah, and it
that's
was like
motivating.
yeah, it is, exactly. So it was like, I need to get out, and I actually quit in the height of the pandemic when the lockdown so it was like, no, you couldn't do anything. It's probably the worst time to quit. You couldn't travel, take a vacation somewhere. So it was just this sense of like, I don't belong here, and if I stay here, I'm gonna turn insane. My sanity was withering away, and that's like the best reason to quit, right? If this has happened to folks out there, of course, it's also a luxury to be like, I don't need this, but I think I'm fairly reckless. But I had explored some full-time opportunities after that.
Okay.
I got an offer and it was a pretty good offer. Actually, it was the best offer I've ever had. But I was working
Wow.
at a startup and I was like, holy crap, this is actually way better, right? Like there's no startup, zero money, no product market fit, whereas a great offer or the best one you've ever had. And I was just like, I just chose ultimately to stick with the startup because I knew the ceiling would be higher. I'm one of those people that get really excited about different projects, new ideas. And even when I'm working in a company, I love to start new internal initiatives and all these things. So I think over time, I just kind of understood that about myself. And then, so when it came to like doing my own thing, of course, you have to get a bit of stability with stuff coming in. But after that, if like the basic needs are met and I basically break even every month, then it's a win. For me, it's like I could do whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm not saying I'll never go back into a full-time role. If I'm still enjoying these little projects and kind of gamifying income streams and work I'm doing, I think I'm in a pretty good place. So that is not for the faint-hearted though. I mean, the reason I also like double down on UX Playbook was because it was organically generating income already. So it had a little bit like a embers of product market fit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, that kind of validated it by itself, basically. So it was definitely some luck thrown in as well, right? That people found it. But I do think about this a lot in terms of would I go back, would I not? But at the moment, right now, I really like that freedom of flexibility. And I love working under pressure. And there's no other urgency. Like your next month is looking terrible. You need to do something about it, right? And the fact that it's your own thing, you can do something about it. But in a big org, in an org chart, how much can you affect the bottom line? How much can you increase year over year? Is it 5, 10, 20%? But I think if you like that kind of self-reported urgency and sort of like that hustle and gamifying your finances, I think entrepreneurship is kind of a fun ride.
Yeah, you said a couple things that I totally agree with, which is the freedom of schedule plus gamifying your finances. There's something fun about it. In a full-time job, your income is pretty much fixed for the foreseeable future. Unless you work for a startup that has equity and there's that exciting aspect of like this company might IPO or they might get acquired someday, then there's like this exciting aspect. But most jobs are pretty basic in that you just have a stable income and you try to shave off off a little into your savings every month. Whereas when you're self-employed, you have the option to either take on more clients or scale a team and try to scale your income that way, or launch digital products like you are. There's this excitement that just doesn't exist in a 9 to 5, and the freedom part. So I love going to the gym pretty much every day. And so when I've had full-time jobs, sometimes a workout might take over an hour. Like if I end up playing 5-on-5 basketball with some guys at the gym, sometimes I'll stress and I'll like hurry and check my phone, see if anybody's Slack messaging me. There's this fear of like, I have to get back to my seat when you have a 9 to 5. But when you're self-employed, that just like goes away. Like it's crazy how your schedule suddenly belongs to you. Obviously you have to get your work done, but your butt being in your seat isn't the priority anymore. And so I think that has been a huge thing that has been exciting for me since going away from full-time.
Exactly. I think lifestyle business has this negative connotation around it, especially for like Silicon Valley, high growth startups. Why do you want a lifestyle business, right? No, we want to hit $1 billion. Well, actually, like if you have your own business, you get to decide on what's important and how it fits your life. So if you want to play 5-on-5 for 2 hours at lunchtime, do that. And if you want to work 3 hours at night and on different time zone schedule, you can do that. It's really up to you. Like if you do want to earn a lot of money and put a lot of hours in, that's also up to you. Just depends on how you want to live and how you want your business to run. I really like that you can kind of design your business around your life as long as the machine is actually running and you can kind of sustain that lifestyle. I think people should celebrate this concept of lifestyle business more versus just shun away from it. And they're like, oh, those people don't have ambition, or they're like not driven. Or I think that's all BS. And that's kind of like Silicon Valley Bible bashers knocking down on our door. And I don't really like that.
Yeah. And I feel like the sentiment is changing. I think that for the past 10 years, prior to the whole layoff craze, I feel like FANG was like all the rage. And I still do think a lot of designers want to work for a FANG. They want to work for Meta or even DoorDash or Airbnb. Like those jobs are so enticing and they pay really well. But I see more and more senior designers are more interested in lifestyle, carving their own path, launching their own product. I feel like the goal is shifting from the people I talk to. They're wanting to build their own thing, that it's leaning more towards the entrepreneurship path. And even the ones that do work for a FANG, several of the ones I've talked to, they're not in it for the long term. They're in it because it's a big paycheck for a few years, but it's not the end game. It just seems like most people work for these FANGs for like a few years and then go to the next one and then the next one. But I feel like a lot of them are trying to build their own thing.
Yeah, I think it's hard to not make things that we want in the world, I think, right? Want
to listen to the full conversation? Click the video on screen now. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join us live. Oh, wait. Okay, fine, you don't have to join us for the live stream, but if you like stuff like this, then click that subscribe button. I'll see you on the inside. Bye!